So perfectly magical. All right, got it, got it. I think that basically when I click the got it, it's live, by the way. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It seems to catch
Okay.
us before we think we live, is my point. All right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's there it shows on the site, so we're live. Go ahead,
okay.
Bina.
Hello and welcome everyone again. And as usual, we are going to to explore the moreness, extract the value as much as we can, and of course, we will try our best to create more value, even if it is one.
Mm.
This is the real task, and this is what Sil actually shared every time that people, moreness people, new nobles, participants of Way of Impeccability acquire this skill to extract value and to create value. This is a
Yeah.
big deal in life. This is really a big deal in life because once we acquire this skill, everything, every activity, every connectivity becomes joy and meaningful.
No,
And it, of
no,
course, in
no.
result, as a consequence, our whole life, our whole being become joyful and
Yes.
valuable. So this is
Now,
what we are going to do today.
is it
Yes,
creating value or extracting value or
I said
both?
both. I said both.
Ah, okay,
And
okay.
I
I'm just
emphasize
checking.
on that. It is
Just
not
checking.
only just extracting value, it is an ability we can, of course, everyone can acquire by being really discerning
Hmm.
to create value in things or situation, which is sometimes not obvious, sometimes not existing. But just by being
Oh,
yourself, you can create value also. No
yeah,
matter what this, how trivial the situation is, we can
exactly,
create value. And how, of course,
exactly.
is by being ourselves.
Yes, or when we're being ourselves, I'm not sure create is the right word. We just exude value.
Yeah, oh,
Yes,
okay, yes, that's now
yeah,
more.
yeah. I mean, we are just providing value. We aren't necessarily making an effort to do anything. We're just being ourselves. It's like a tree. It doesn't create the value. It just exudes the value. The value just is there from its isness, from its being. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I was saying that in the same manner as we say that okay, trees actually create more healthy environment for you, and they create oxygen and of course all these things. So,
Yeah.
but yes, exactly. Exuding is much appropriate than creating,
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
is
Much,
what
much
people,
more
what
appropriate.
Way
Yeah.
of Impeccability and moreness people can do, and same as
Yeah.
course as everyone else. Sometimes we are not aware that how just
Yeah.
being by being ourselves, how much value we are sharing with the world. This is what
Exactly.
we are going to do.
Exactly.
Capital R reading of
Exactly.
Nobility
Exactly.
stories.
And you know, we can exude value simply by being happy, for instance. You
Exactly.
know, it's very simple business. It's not that complicated, right? So it's not exclusive to anybody who's done Wave Impeccability or Warner's project.
Of
It's just
course.
that
Anyone can
when you've
acquire.
done that, you're a bit more in connection with yourself. So it's not a
You become more
superiority
deliberate.
thing.
You become
Exactly,
more deliberate.
exactly.
Yes.
And the intent is to connect to your own moreness, not for the purpose of exuding value or being better or any nonsense like that. No, it's for your own value that you're doing it, right? And you get a lot out of it. So when you're more at peace with yourself and enjoying yourself and have independence of being, etc., then you're going to exude this, and it adds to the world. It's very, very, very simple, right?
Exactly.
Right. It's not complicated. It's not
It's
complicated.
not
But it's just
complicated. It's
making
fun.
that deliberate effort is the key. Yes, making that deliberate
Yes.
effort.
Yes.
Right. And not to be at the whim of the world, in other words, you're making that effort. And that alone, right there, that
Yes.
shift in mindset is what makes the difference. Oh, let me get straightened up here. Sorry. I'm sitting all squiffy. And well, first of all, lean. Uh, All right. Sorry, Bina. I was sitting all squiffy and cockeyed, and my sheet my green screen was in a mess, and oh gosh, everything.
Yes.
Am I presentable? Am I presentable?
Yes.
I am. All right.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
Bina.
before I will type there, hello and welcome everyone. Now I'm going to type there.
Brilliant. Okay, I'm finished with all the sharing. I've added it to my timeline and put all this on top. This is magical. And Lisa said she can't make it right away, but she will be coming, popping in a bit later, which is marvelous. So I love this. I enjoyed Lisa yesterday, and let me go and this. So get the link and give it to Norma. That helps her. That helps her. Hey Tommy, come. You posted 3 minutes ago. Ah. I just saw Tommy Walker, and he posted a post. Norma's already here. You beat me to it, Norma. I was going to send you the link, but yeah. Wonderful, Norma. Wonderful. Fabulous. I always love it when you're here, Norma. It's a big deal. Just makes me feel comfortable and happy and relaxed. Norma's here. Wonderful. So I'm encouraging Tommy to come. Yeah, Tommy, you can't say you're not on. I saw you made a post 3 minutes ago, 4 minutes ago now. So, yeah, see? So it's right there. Your post is right above this one. Christina, I want to say the same thing too. No excuses, people. Not that there's an excuse, but it's like, I just feel if you're posting regularly in group and you're enjoying group, come and join in the live. The live is group. This is what it's all about, Be a part of what group is all about. Don't just make posts to promote yourself all the time, right? Come and join. I know you're online. You just posted, so no excuses.
Okay.
Not that there's
So,
an excuse, but it's like it sort of blows my mind that they don't join. Why are you here in the group if you're not wanting to join in the lives? You see what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So,
yes, but okay, so let's focus on other things and have,
yeah.
okay, so Norma says, hi, Bina. Yes, this is what I'm going to do. This is what we are going to do, Norma.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just checking to see who's on right now, and it just amazes me how so few are on. I don't know. Maybe we need to find a different time to do this because I found one that's live now. I mean, in my friends, some of the people who post aren't necessarily friends. They can be, stopping them. But anyway. All right. So at least it was Jordan, came yesterday. So we still want to know about his comment, Jordan. So come. And Tommy and Christina. Yes, Christina, you've been posting for a long time. Want to see you. It's not like this is just any live. This is the live from the creator of the group. Yes. So it has a different logic to it, no? In terms of if you join the group and the person who started the group and who admins the group, who does so every single day, and who's setting the philosophy and the underlying, it's like, this is what the group is really about. A lot of the posts, yeah, they kind of add,
Yes.
but they're not in the depth, you see? So
Yes.
how is it that you don't join? It fascinates me. Okay, I realize that what we say is we go deep, and some people get a little bit intimidated by the depth, and they, no, too bad, catch up. That's all. That's all. Don't let that put you off. Just listen, take what you can, ask questions, the fact that it is too much should make you happy, because what would you rather have as something that you are paying attention to, something that you like, oh, I know this, I know this. What are you going to learn? Nothing. So don't you want something that you are looking to learn from to be more than what you know? Bina, Norma? Doesn't that make
Absolutely.
sense? The logic of
Absolutely.
it?
Yes.
No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So the only reason not to participate is what? And look who else has joined. The Najjar has joined. We have been
Yes.
joined
Ramzi
by the
Raja.
Najjar. Yeah, but today he's the Najjar, not just Najjar, he's the Najjar. See, it's like a title, Ramzi the Najjar, like Jabba the Hutt, right? The Hutt it's his title. Jabba is a Hutt. It's not his name. It's not his last name. That's his title. There are other Hutts, right? I don't know their names offhand, but there were other Hutts. So yeah, after the demise of Jabba, there was a lot of competition to take his spot. So I think Ramzi is a Najjar. Doesn't it just sound like a fancy title, Bina? Does to me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Ramzi the Najjar. But in the interest of over time, it's gotten shortened. So there we go. There we go. I love that. I love that. Hello, Ramzi. Hello. Glad you're here, Ramzi.
Yes.
I'm glad you're here. All right. So before we get going, and just
Mhm.
to give others space to join also, Ramzi and Norma, what's been on your minds, in your hearts? What have you been thinking about since yesterday? Just what's been going on with you, or this morning? Just what's going on inside there. Let's hear. Like, I think for me, this point about people joining, that's maybe something, but it just came up now. It wasn't maybe earlier. I don't really know. I didn't have too much depth going on earlier. I was really focused on getting stuff done. So I was focused on efficiency. Yes. Glad to see you, Ramzi. Very much so. Very much so. So I was focused on efficiency and effectiveness. And this is important, how we use our energy. And also another focus that's been going on today is particularly the focus on when we are doing things, particularly mundane, routine things, when we learn them, understand why, understand the underlying, how it makes sense, how it actually works, rather than just doing it by rote. Because if you really understand, not only are you able to optimize and be more efficient, but you're able to deal with variations. Yeah. I've seen this time and time again. People learn something and then it goes slightly different, and then it all breaks down for them. And they can't work.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I
So
experienced
you
that.
got to understand that. Got to understand that. Yes.
Yes. So I experienced
So,
this. And
yeah.
sometimes like when you have to like deal with so much details, and then of course the efficiency, and of course the overwhelm or the excitement, you can say, of getting things done is something like it just
Yes.
inhibits you to pay much attention to, because there are too many
Yes.
things into details going into, but all the things are important. So of course the
Exactly.
habitual mind asks you to memorize those steps.
Nah, don't.
But
Don't
but of course.
understand. Don't memorize. Understand, and you won't need to memorize. Right, Bina?
Yeah.
When you
Yes,
understand, you don't need to memorize. The memorization will come automatically. But when you understand, you just figure
yes,
it out every time, and you get good at figuring it out every time, and it happens really quickly.
exactly.
And this is a great delight and joy. It's a
Okay.
great delight and joy.
So
Yes.
Ramsey is saying that today was busy
Hmm.
all day with some appointments to market our sweet chili pizza sauce and
To
dips
to to hang on, hang on,
supermarket.
hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. To market is what?
Sweet chilies, pizza sauce, and dip to supermarkets. So,
Wow. All righty then. All righty then.
but
Wonderful.
look,
Wonderful.
okay, it's all
Yeah.
wonderful, but what he says, so hadn't been philosophical since morning. You were being philosophical. I can be like really sure about this.
I
Once
can't help it,
March,
Ramsey. It happens automatically by now. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Even when we are not doing anything, and
Yes.
I have
I
I
mean,
have experiencing this a
right,
lot.
right. So yeah. So to interrupt Bina a little bit, the philosophical part that I was saying, we were doing listings. Bina and I, we were listing things on Marketplace and Facebook. You know, all that product that you see from me come up on the timeline. And by the way, just on that, as friends of mine, right? If you're my friends, you're going to see all these different products come up that I've listed. And it's not me posting this on purpose. I hear you. Exactly, exactly. But you
Uh,
know, the new nobility do trivial things in a style. Anyway, I'll come to that in a moment. I just wanted to make this point that the reason you see those listings from me is because of the way Marketplace works. That if I want to list things in groups that I belong to, I have to say, show this to my friends. If I say, don't show this to my friends, it doesn't show them in the groups. So it's a peculiarity, it's an oddity in Facebook. Right. So that's why you see all that stuff from me. Now, if you don't want to see it, all these products that I'm listing, don't ever click on any of those. And if you just ignore them, then Facebook won't show it to you after a while, right? The way Facebook works. Chocolate pudding, can't waste any bit, not even on the lid there. All right. So you know, the key with doing things is to do it with moreness, right? So that's what I was saying with Bean and I. We were just making listings. But this point, you know, come on, screen, stop showing my heater back there. It's not part of the scenery. So we were just doing basic mundane things. But once we train ourselves to look for that more, we said, one of the moreness here to get philosophical is to shift on understanding, capital U understanding, rather than on memorization. So now we're getting into an understanding of how application works, how competency works, and how feeling good about things works. Because, Bina, if you make the listing and you get it right because you remembered, does that make you feel very special? Maybe a little. If you get it right and appropriate because you understood and you were able to deal with the curveball because this time it's a different product and Facebook is a little whatever. Now you really, really feel good, yes?
yes, yes,
So
and
it's a
also that it eliminate the fear, the subtle fear inside every single time
exactly,
when you are doing something.
exactly,
So that
exactly.
way.
You develop self-trust. You see, in other words, Ramsey, how we get here, because we trained our brains already to think in overview, abstract conceptuality. Yeah. So we think in these overview abstract concepts like self-trust, competency, efficiency, effectiveness, a best use of energy. This is way of impeccability. Best use of energy. The
And on
best
top of
use of
that,
my energy is not to remember. Yeah.
and on top of that, Ramsey was actually selling, marketing, coexisting contradictions, sweet chilies.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So see now to get philosophical, you actually have in a bottle or a package or whatever you put your sauce in,
Pouch, yes, or
you
sachets, or
literally have a coexisting
existing
contradiction right there.
contradictions. Yes, sweet chilies. Yes,
But that's actually a very interesting concept, Bina. I don't
yes.
think I've seen it here in the US, and not that I'm aware of. Now, I'm not a fan of chili. Sorry, Ramsey, doesn't work for me.
Yes, yin and yang products. Yes.
Hmm. But
Okay, we do have here. Yes.
I do buy pizza sauce, and I would not buy chili pizza sauce because I don't like chili. But I haven't seen it that I think, and but chili is very popular. So this is a fantastic idea, and you know that if you or the manufacturer of it. I'm assuming you're making this on your farm, right? You're growing the chilies and the tomatoes and stuff, yeah?
That will be wonderful. But yes, yin and yang products.
Wonderful. Wow. Okay, so what does Norma say there? Please, will you read, Bina, while I
Yes,
attend
she's.
to
Oh, yes. Norma
these
saying.
are like really important matters of consequence.
Yes. Okay.
Chocolate pudding and jello. Yes,
Yes.
because they got to be eaten
Uh,
simultaneously, so it takes a bit of
just
skill.
means sorting. So Norma says just means sorting. Okay. Sorting a room to huge carriers of brand new ring binders to give away. But think most people store electronically now. Okay.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They do, Bina, but you'd be surprised how many people want to be old school and go with a song.
Well,
Yeah.
they have a very
Yeah.
different feel. So
Hmm.
yes,
Hmm.
like some of my I do have friend here who is still use typewriter, the old typewriter, and because they say that okay, it is connected to the creativity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It's
associations.
connected.
Everything is associations.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
fantastic
Ramsey.
that Ramsey says they are producing everything. That is too
Oh, that is
fantastic. All right.
wonderful,
So
Ramsey. Love that. Yes.
Bina, let's get into the philosophical aspect of what Norma's doing.
Yes.
Right?
So ring
First,
binders.
sorting.
Yes. Energy efficient, of course, she is creating a space. Of course,
Right,
the first thing, sorting. By sorting, she is
right,
creating a space, which is
right,
again applying application of philosophy. Creating a space you can go like for hours and hours and hours just to talk
right.
about creating a space. And then, of course, sorting is making things accessible, easily accessible, not just accessible, but making
There you
things
go.
easily accessible.
There
And
you
this
go.
can be applied to all our perspectives and ideas and
Right,
conceptions. So,
right,
yes, to make
right,
our
right.
ideas, conceptions, perspectives easily accessible to us. So, we don't need to remember anything. We can play with
Right.
any curveball. We can just be expert at least, okay, not in a comparison with any other, but with ourselves. So yes, we can say that, okay, we can be
Yeah.
appropriate in any moment, in any situation. So that's
Mm.
just a thing. And
And
also, yes,
okay, keep going. Keep going.
yes, okay. So, and the other thing is, Norma, what she is saying that, okay, that she is thinking, she is being considerate about, like, okay, what she is giving away
There you go.
is other people will find it useful or not. So this is her consideration,
Right.
being
But
very
let's take
discerning
it
about
deeper,
this.
Bina. Let's apply Bengal logic to this. Remember?
Yeah.
When you are sorting through things for the purpose of giving them away, and you are going to give them away, you can do
Yes.
something else. You can use association management to get extra value. Yeah.
Yes, because okay, it was. Let me share with Norma and Ramsey if you guys are not aware of it, the Bengali story. Uh,
Hmm.
I was in my mind so wonderful. I was not addicted to anything. I had no obsession, nothing at all. And I was so deliberate in my life. Like, okay, oh, very
Hmm.
mindful. Okay.
Hmm.
That was I was not claiming it. I was not just telling everyone,
You were
but
just in a
this was the
bubble.
yeah, it was my idea about myself. That was the
You're in a bubble.
self-concept
You're in
I
a
had.
big bubble.
Yes.
Yeah. In the
And
Bengal
then
bubble. In the Bengal bubble.
okay,
We
yes.
never called it that before, right? That's fun. The Bengal
Yes.
bubble. Okay.
And then someday, okay, in the process of spring cleaning, I start getting like some boxes from the like far reach cabinets and drawers. And so I was collecting. Okay, yes, okay, I have these bangles too. Okay, so let it put aside, and then I started looking for bangles, and then boxes after boxes start coming out,
No,
and
dear.
and they were like I don't know how many thousands they were, which I never wore actually. It was just I was collecting because for me, glass bangles, the colors and the sound is so tempting. Oh my God. It is so tempting. It is so colorful. And
We are
actually
child
something,
Bina. We are child Bina.
okay. And
Too
something
beautiful. Too
happened in my
beautiful.
childhood. Okay, so in Pakistan, there is a city called Hyderabad. And Hyderabad is famous for glass bangle making. I went there to meet my uncle. And in the morning, all the family relatives, they said, okay, let's go out for breakfast. So it was very early morning. And Hyderabad is an old city. So they have ramps and like roads are like really on hillside. So when we were coming back after having breakfast, so it was a very deep, uh, steep on that. And when we just come up on top of that, as uh, there were dozens of carts loaded with glass bangles, all different colors, so beautiful. And the sun was rising just at the time. And
Wow.
those
I never heard this
bangles
part before, by the way. Wow.
and
Keep
those
going. Keep
bangle
going.
sellers were washing them by just splashing buckets of water. That
Wow.
scene was so inspiring, so beautiful for me. It was amazing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that at that time I just get like really fell into love with bangles or what. After that, I was just collecting and collecting and collecting and even not wearing, just buying those bangles, having that sound for a few minutes was it.
Wow.
And it was literally a plethora, thousands of bangles. And the problem was not bangles then. It was my unawareness of my
There you
own
go.
addiction.
There you go. Yeah.
That was a shock for me. How could
Yeah.
I so really not paying attention to, oblivious to, that I had an obsession and I was always buying bangles. That was literally a huge deal. It becomes really overwhelming, and then of course I had to share, and I shared with Sil. and
Mm.
then and then he says that okay, first the awareness, the first benefit that okay, start bangles
Yeah.
start coming out, so it becomes like okay, yes, it's an awareness. Now you are being really mindful about these things,
Mm.
but also making deliberate choices. And the third one was to how to actually just get out of this habit. The fourth
And
one
get
was
more
a
out
way.
of getting out of it.
Yes, and then he says that okay, why don't you just associate something with that?
Yeah.
Obviously, I choose the first one, my obsession with glass banking. So I'm giving away my
Right.
obsession with this.
Right.
So it was what
To
says,
associate
yes,
something that you want, you were looking to reduce and throw out and get rid of some of your bangles, right?
yes,
So in the process of doing this physically, I was recommend you associate something
yes,
spiritually, psychologically, emotionally.
yes,
There you go.
yes, yes, yes,
Okay. Just to
exactly,
be very
exactly.
clear, it's very important to
Yes,
be very clear
yes.
here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
So
No problem.
yes, this is how it works. And then every box become a different association. My carelessness, ignorance, okay, and
Look at that.
also
Look at that.
that being carried away with anything, like really tempted.
Excessiveness, in other words,
Yes,
or indulgence. Yeah.
yes, yes.
No. Now, listen to the self-honesty here, by the way.
So
Listen.
I had to like really associate a lot of things with that, and that becomes really a
No.
fun process. Fun,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
in the way that okay, I was getting like okay, awareness after awareness after awareness, but
Yes.
it was a very deep process, and
Yes.
since
Yes.
then I haven't bought any bank at all.
Right. Right.
Though I
Right.
do tempt a lot with that, and I said okay, I'm not going
Right.
to even look at
But
it. But
yeah,
now
but after
now
that
it is becoming
exercise,
easy. Oh
how could
yes,
you really go and, I mean, you could buy bangles, but you're not going to buy them in the same way. And it's sort of by paying attention to it,
yes,
you took the steam out of it, right? You
I
can't
was a
be
compulsive buyer.
exactly. You and now because you did it so with such awareness, and when you threw out boxes of bangles, you were also throwing out that compulsion, that thoughtlessness, the unawareness that caused you to do that, right? So
Yeah,
because you threw that out and it's no longer part of you, how can you repeat it? You can't. Yes.
exactly.
So
By being thorough, you cannot just go back
yeah,
to the
yeah,
same point easily. Once you become
exactly,
aware,
exactly,
you cannot be
exactly.
unaware.
Exactly. Exactly. Brilliant. All right. So Ramsey says you got to go soon. We're going to come back to Ramsey in a moment. But let's stick with Norma here. And Bina, what could Norma possibly associate with these ring binders that she's giving away?
I don't know about Norma. I can say about myself. And if
Okay.
I would have to do that, those ring binders, I would say that, okay, my neediness, my clinginess to things and ideas, or to my ego.
Mm,
So like,
mm,
okay, these binders were binding me to my old self. Okay, I'm just
mm,
giving it away. These
mm,
binders are now
mm.
a metaphor uh, for my procrastination, my clinginess
Oh,
towards those things. So I could do these type of things and
mm.
attach and
Now,
associate, and then of course give it away.
yeah. Also, Norma said, I mean, yes, we can't speak for Norma, but we can go by what Norma said, which was Norma was saying she doesn't know if people still use these because, nowadays it's all electronic. So the abstract of that is old ways and new ways of doing things. Yes.
Absolutely, how
So
wonderful.
now, Norma, you can say, well, some old ways are good. Yes. And some I want to keep, but other old ways I don't want to keep. So now you can associate those old ways of doing things, old habits, old ways of thinking, old ways of feeling, old ways of reacting, etc. You can say, you know what? This I want to throw out. So let me associate it with this particular binder. And here we go. Okay, let's say our old way is, I don't know. I can't think of something. All right, making assumptions maybe, or expectations, something like that, right? Let me not throw out that habit of assuming or having expectations that are unreasonable or whatever the case is. This is a very typical thing that many have, so it's very easy for me to say. It's not particular to you necessarily, Norma. But you see what I'm point is, you take whatever an old thing is, an old habit that you no longer want, and you associate it with the binder, and so there you go. Out you go with the binder. It seems kind of childish in a way to say, yeah, but how's that going to change you? But this is our psychology. We don't always think logically inside of us. And our inner aspects, they don't always work rationally. Stuff like this really works. And this is why you've probably seen in the movies and stuff where the girl the girlfriends all get together because one of them has had a very terrible breakup, and the ex-boyfriend is now the devil, and it's all horrible. And they go outside and they make a bonfire and they write things on the bonfire, and then they throw it in the bonfire, and they have this big ceremony to get rid of all the stuff. It really works, right? There's nothing magical in it. It's simply the power of association within the brain. And it's emphasis. Because you are emphasizing getting rid of something with this physical activity, it tells your brain, oh, it's a bit more important. And when there's emphasis, it literally changes the brain, right? So we got to pay attention to that. Yeah. So it's
Yes,
we are leveraging a sophisticated understanding of how the brain works by doing these little ritual things. It's not the ritual itself that's important. It's the emphasis that's important, right? Look who's joined us too. Sherrelation is in the house. Brilliant, brilliant. See? Sherrelation, Sherrelation. That's it. That's it. You are Sherrelation today.
um,
Wonderful.
yes,
All right, so
absolutely.
Norma, take that being greedy for everything and associate it and throw it out. Throw it out.
Yes, yes.
And you see, you're just mentioning it now, Norma. The fact that you're saying it here in a comment, in live, on Facebook, this is emphasis for your brains. Oh, Norma really doesn't want to be greedy for things anymore. This is important to her. Well, let's change. Let's change the brain. Emphasis is a superpower. Use it wisely. Yeah? Hello, 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 Cheryl. Yeah? That's why I emphasize. That's why I emphasize when you guys join. Because you are special to me. I want you to be special to me and stay special to me. It's a big deal. So, Cheryl, what we were doing is before we start the capital R reading is we were asking what's been on your minds today or last night or since last time. And last time you were here was Sunday. So in the last couple of days, what's been in your mind, in your heart? What's kind of you've been thinking about, pondering, questioning, exploring, examining, philosophizing about, etc. This technique of association management can do it in many, many different ways. It is really, really powerful. The brain works by association, by tagging. It's like emphasis, right? It's another way the brain works. Same with your computer. Your computer cannot work if things aren't associated. It just can't. And next time you save a file, say, no, I don't want to associate it with anything. I'm not going to give this a name. And see what your computer does. It will refuse to save the file if you don't give it a name. And you say, well, all right, I'm just going to call it, file, I don't know, blank.com or blank.pdf or whatever. And see how many files you have afterwards called blank, and how effective that is when it comes to using your computer. It's a mess, right? It's a mess. Cheryl says, I've been doing a bit of housekeeping myself. I am removing negative influences, people from my circle. Ooh, let's hear more. Let's hear more. Let's hear more, Cheryl. And is one of those people old Cheryl? Previous Cheryl, not old Cheryl, previous Cheryl. Yes, live and let live is pretty good, unless you're interfering with my life. Sorry, then it gets a different thing. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. In my last year of school, we had a chapter in Urdu, which was a story, and the story was about like how your life and your rights are. So it was like, okay, it was a story of two people, two English people walking on the street from the opposite side. They were coming towards each other, and one of them was just swinging his cane by walking and swinging his cane. Like just people, when people do that, I saw that in some old Charlie Chaplin type of movies, and he was doing that, and the other guy was coming, and of course that guy hit the other person uh, with his cane, and that becomes a huge deal, and they go to the court, and then you say, and he was saying that, okay, this, it is my cane and it is my right, whatever I want to do that. And of course the conclusion was, it was a funny story, but the conclusion was that yes, your right of swinging cane exists till it touches my nose.
Exactly.
So yes,
Exactly.
you can do whatever you want to, but if it is going to touch my nose or hit myself, then
Exactly.
it is not going
You
to be
lose
in
your
use.
rights. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So appropriateness. Now,
Yes,
pay
exactly.
attention. Sorry. So
Yes.
pay attention, folks. Pay attention to the comments, right?
Yes. Yes.
Very,
Okay.
very important. So Cheryl says, live and let live has always been my approach, my mantra, but certain situations require action. Appropriateness. All of these sort of philosophies like live and let live. Without appropriateness, you get into trouble, like the swinging of the cane, right? It works in some, but not in all. So you need to apply appropriateness, right? And
Yes.
Lisa says, I listened to an amazing account of an NDE, that's near death experience, not nearly deliberate experience, right? Near death experience. That was absolutely amazing. And my neighbor died yesterday. Wow, Lisa. Wow, wow, wow. Then Cheryl says something super important. And so does Lisa right after that. Two really important comments, right? Cheryl says, yes, because I said, uh, I hope those people that you are dealing with and trimming in your life includes the previous Cheryl. And she says, yes, the Cheryl of then tolerated a lot. And I typed it out there, right, with hyphens. The Cheryl of then as a concept, as a thing. We all have our Sil of then, our Bina of then, our Lisa of then, right? And it's very important to make that distinction. Our us of then, the me of then is not the me of now. And the me of now, because the me of now, I've been working on the me of now. If I look back, the me of now cannot possibly do the nonsense that the me of then got up to. Bina's me of now cannot possibly be buying bangles by the thousands and just putting them in the closet and the cupboard and not doing anything with them. It's just not possible anymore, because Bina doesn't have that level of bubbleness anymore, or that urge and all this stuff, right? So, okay, this is now a very trivial thing with the bangles, but it's the same as any other habit or mindset or thing we do without thinking. Yeah. So be aware of the difference between the me of then and the me of now, and then apply the profound thing that Lisa says: die and let die. In other words, your me of now, your me of then, as in that poem, the me of now and then. It's a very powerful poem. If you don't know it, just send me a message. I'll send a link to it. A very, very powerful poem. The me of then died a long time ago. And if you don't understand this, you're going to be haunted by its ghost. But when you do understand that it has died and you let it die, when that ghost comes around, you say, hey, ghost, what can you do to me? You're insubstantial. You're just a ghost. So be gone, ghost. You have no power. Right? You have no power over me of now. No power. So this die and let die is a very profound philosophical statement. Yes? So now you see, this is important stuff. And another thing to do, just if we're looking at, we were saying to take the ordinary stuff. Ramsey said, well, he was just doing something ordinary. He was marketing his pizza, his chili pizza sauce, which is a fantastic idea, right? And he said, well, it wasn't being philosophical. I said, well, we can be philosophical in everything we do. Right now, I'm reading comments, but see, I'm going to take that comment and put it into my quote file. Yeah. It's a very profound quote there. Yes. Die and let die. That's very important. Okay. And this gets attributed to Lisa Unleashed, right? Right, Bina? Lisa Unleashed. Die and let die. Now, look, there's a comma there too. It's not die and let die. No, it's die, comma, and let die. Yeah. And die is in inverted commas in both times. Yeah. Well, I think this one needs its own one, but yeah, it's die in an inverted comma there. There we go. Right, Lisa? If I'm understanding how you intended correctly. Yeah. Is it so? Or did you not put the first one in? Oh, no. Okay. Sorry. It's my eyes are reading wrong. Okay. Now that makes more sense. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, so my point is, take care of things right away. Don't put them off. Do it right away. Otherwise, they never come around. Be disciplined in doing things that you want to do. Yeah. It helps. It helps. So Cheryl then also says, to the point of my own shame for accepting such shitty behavior. She's talking about her me of then. Cheryl, that was then, not now. Can you do the same things now? No, you can't. So stop stressing about it. That was then, not now. Yeah. So understand this difference. Your me of then was a nincompoop. Yeah, okay, your me of now is probably a nincompoop too, but it's not as much of a nincompoop, right? So you're not the same kind of nincompoop. So you can let the me of then go. You gotta let it go. It's gotta die, in other words, right? Like Lisa says. To let it die and to let it be dead, in other words, right? Die and let die. Stay dead. It's gone, it's past, right? That's not you anymore, right? Right, Cheryl? Are you still the person that you used to be, Cheryl? Let's ask you this straight up. Is the Cheryl of now the same as the Cheryl of then? Let me ask this of Bina. Let me ask this of Lisa. Let me ask this of Norma. And Ramsey, if you're still here. Does it actually sneak in, or does it try to? Yes. Yes. The past tries to resurrect itself. It sneaks in as a ghost. It tries to get back, because that's what ghosts do. They hanker after being alive, and they try and be alive, but they can't be, right? So they try. So they make this effort, even though it's a futile effort, but they try. So So, we can't let it succeed even partially. We just have to be on guard. Yeah. But that's going to happen, right? Just because it tries to sneak in doesn't mean that you aren't different. So the question was not whether your past sneaks back, but are you different? Can you honestly say you are different between now and then? Cheryl? Lisa? Bina? Norma? Ramsey? Everybody?
Yes, I'm here and I was just waiting for other people to respond to it.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
She gets in, she gets caught, and I make the correction. There you go. That's a huge difference. You let your guard down. Yes. You're aware, Cheryl. You're aware of this. Yeah. But never the same. Impossible, but to be different. Yeah. 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 A little bit. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's impossible, but to be a bit different. Exactly. Exactly. We've got to be on guard. And the point is, Cheryl, you are noticing it. You are aware. Energy management and overdoing it. Exactly. Exactly. It's impossible not to be different. Gotcha. This is very important. Exactly, Lisa. It's impossible not to be different. And listen to what Cheryl says. If we are going to be on guard against the me of then looking to sneak back in via its ghost form, it has died, but it doesn't want to acknowledge that it's died, which is what a ghost is. A ghost is what doesn't want to acknowledge that it's died, still holding on, right? We are celebrating. We're celebrating the difference of the you of now and saying the you of now is not the you that you used to be. And the question I'm asking is, Norma, are you now different? And do you celebrate the difference from the you that you used to be a long time ago? Yeah. And in Cheryl and Lisa, they do. They are different. They're substantially different, and they're making an effort to be different. It's an ongoing process. We have to be on guard though, because the old selves, they try and sneak back because they don't want to be dead. They're like ghosts. They don't want to be dead, and they don't want to acknowledge that they're dead. So we have to be aware of this. And like you said, Cheryl, it all comes down to energy management. If we are low energy, then of course it's easier for these things to sneak back in. Yeah. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So Norma, all I'm asking is if you feel that you are different. And I can answer this on your behalf. I can say, even in the short time that I've known you relative to your lifetime, is that you are substantially different, Norma. You're continually growing and changing. And I know you say, oh, you know what, I'm too old to learn and grow. Nonsense. There's no such thing. You learn and grow all the time. Profoundly so. Profoundly so. Profoundly so. Yeah. Focused on me now, is not sure how much time is left. There you go. Oh, you got plenty time, Norma. You're very sprightly and energetic and everything. You fantastic. You are just too awesome. Just too awesome. You have more energy and go and everything than people I know that are a tenth of your age, a quarter of your age. It's profound. It's profound. But this is thing. See, Norma, this, forced on me now, is not sure how much time is left. Why do we only think that way when we get older? Why is that not appropriate to think at all, at any time in our lives? We never know how much time is left. I don't care how young you are. You don't know how much time you left. It's a massively important point. Massively important point. Yes. Do it now. Later might never come. You might be dead later. Do it now. Yeah. Do what's important to you now. Do what your soul says is important. Your heart, your spirit. Yeah. Do what really matters. Have that clarity of intent. I'm working on my moreness. I'm working on my connectivity to spirit. I'm working on trying to understand death, etc., etc. Really, 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 and truly work on true, actual, real, for real matters of consequence. We joke about matters of consequence because in the story of the little prince, it was nonsense. They were doing idiotic stuff, but trying to sound important. It was all about egotism. But really, what they should have been doing is actual matters of consequence, which are personal issues, not counting how many stars there are and being the first one to get to a planet or a star or something, or whatever. Right? All ego nonsense. Real matters of consequence are learning how to manage your energy. Because if you learn how to manage your energy, you can learn how to manage your moods. If you can learn how to manage your moods, you can learn how to manage your motivations. If you can learn to manage both your moods and your motivations, how is life not going to be ridiculously easy from then on? And no matter what happens to you after that, whatever reality and world you can, if you can manage your energy and manage your moods, manage your motivation, you can pretty much do anything. So any reality, you're good to go. Right there is a starting point. Yeah, work on your conceptions of thinking, understanding things like appropriateness and impeccability and integrity and patience. If you understand all these qualities and know what they are, how do you not choose them? How do you not be them? How do you not live them? You can't. So now you're ready for whatever's coming, right? So this is a great preparation for the great unknown, which could grab us at any time. Yeah. I don't want to leave a mess for my children. Yes, I hear you are not leaving a mess. Never mind for children, but for anybody. Death is a profound motivation or near death. Yes. Also, death is not only a profound motivator, but a magnificent advisor. Because the first thing that death tells you, right, you go knock on death's door and it says, yeah, what do you want? Death, very rude because time is very precious to death. And you say, well, I don't know what to do. You say, what do you mean you don't know what to do? I'm coming for you. And you're wasting your time deliberating in what to do? Like, seriously? And then you go away. But what advice did death give me? Oh, death is telling me time is precious. Duh, 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 right? Duh. The moment you think of death, oh, time is precious. Let me get doing what I need to be doing. So wasting my time on nonsense, right? So time is precious. Don't waste it. Time is precious. Don't waste it. This is death's message. This is why death is such a magnificent advisor. It's a pleasure, Norma. You really are awesome, Norma. So please enjoy. Enjoy Norma. Enjoy Normaness. Yeah. Normify everything you do. Not normalize, but norma. See, normalize. Make it norma-like. Yeah. Maximize normalness. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Death is a profound motivator. So now we say, fine, what are we going to do with our time? What are we going to do with our time? How are we going to live? How are we going to maximize our time? Yeah. So let's go. Let's go and read this. And Bina is going to do the capital R reading because Lisa didn't come on. And so we don't have Lisa, unfortunately. Cheryl is not on Zoom, so Cheryl can't do capital R reading. And Cher's not here. So we just stuck with Bina. Yeah, well, what can we do? We'll just have to make do with Bina. Hi, Bina. You ready?
And you can run away from the destiny. Okay, whatever.
You cannot run away from destiny. Exactly. It is your destiny to do the capital R reading today. And
Yes.
and we are blessed that this is your destiny. It is a magical thing because I've got matters of consequence to attend to, which is making coffee. No, I love it. I really enjoy, like yesterday when Lisa was doing it and we did it. For me to listen for a change, I love it. I talk a lot because, well, it's the situation kind of presses me to talk a lot. I don't mean to. I truly love listening, by the way. I really do. I really do. It's just my sense of appropriateness that stimulates me to talk so much. All right. Listening, Bina. Can you see the screen? Yeah,
Also
you
your
can.
thoroughness.
Exactly. Exactly. And my
Okay.
care.
Yes.
Exactly.
The new nobility rarely, if ever, initiate, she said. It seems like they do because they have actions ready to slot into the exact moment. But really, when we think about it, she halted, warning them to do exactly that. When one thinks about it, they are actually always responding. They are responding to the flow and stream of events. That responding, that being attuned, that's where the joy you see so evident in the new nobility arises from. Biella closed the circle of discussion, taking care to leave an opening for further comments as needed, if anyone chooses.
I choose, I choose, I choose, I choose.
Okay.
All right. So this point came up yesterday with Lisa, and I want to elaborate on it. This point of always responding and the joy that comes from it. So for
Yes.
me personally, yeah, my whole life, and consciously and deliberately since age 10, has been focused on trying to not be so unaware, right? And being acutely aware of my unawareness and my nincompoopry. When I first started focusing on awareness, from that day, the light bulb exploded, literally and figuratively. I was horrified. Oh my God, I'm so unaware. I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. I'm such a nincompoop, right? I was absolutely horrified. And I wasn't being, overly self-denigrating. No, this was actually true that I really was. I'm 10 years old, so like, duh, I mean, when we look at ourselves very critically, you're going to be an idiot at 10. All right, fine. But I was really horrified, at just how unaware and what a bubble and how stupid I was and doing idiotic things. Anyway, so as a result of this, doing the right thing, being impeccable, I called it rightness back then, capital R, rightness, right? That was my term for it. Because, well, nobody used the word impeccability, and it just wasn't a word that was around. Right? So later, when I did come into contact with impeccability, I simply used it instead of rightness. But this was my concept, and rightness actually even goes back before that time. So I really was trying to profoundly figure out what's the right thing to do. This led me led me to a massive, massive life change shift. Right? It's written in that story, The Gift of Intent, where I said the quest, the search, the ideal of self-wisdom is flawed. That was my ideal that I approached all throughout my youth. Yes, this ideal of self-wisdom. I learned, figured stuff out, tested, researched, applied. It's what I did every single second of the day. In everything I did, no matter what it was, this is what I was doing, right? Like we were saying earlier. Yeah, you can be doing ordinary things, but you can add that extra layer on top of it, right? But then I realized that this quest for self-wisdom is flawed. Why? Because in order to truly be wise, you have to have access to universal information. I don't have such access. So my quest is futile. I might be a perfect computer in terms of processing data, but if I've got limited data, like any researcher will tell you, your results are dependent on your data. So garbage in, garbage out, right? At the extreme end of it. All right, you can sometimes come up with sensible decision making and sensibility and wisdom based on limited data. It is possible, but it's sort of you behind the curve all the time. So I said, there's got to be a better way, right? And then I said, well, I now want to shift to connecting to a system where I can have access to universal information. How? What has universal information? Well, the universe. So in order to access universal information, I used to do it via the universe. Now I can't do it directly, but I can in an indirect way. And this is where living via attunement, or living in harmony with the universe, with the flow and the pressure of the universe, this is where this comes from. Because I say, I don't know what's best for me, but I'm going to trust that the forces of the universe are going to be pressing and pushing me into this regard. And when they do push me into whatever, then now it's a local situation. In the local situation, that's when I can exercise all my skills that I've acquired, my skills of discernment and awareness and strategy and whatever, right? But in the bigger picture, in the life context, yeah, I have no clue. Yeah, I have to trust the universe, right? Now, so when we shift in this way, we start living in response to the universe's forces and pressures. Yeah, it's like I'm surfing. I can't really initiate when I'm surfing. I've got to respond to the wave. I mean, how are you going to just surf on your own accord? There's no wave to surf. I can't just suddenly start surfing. Right? I have to respond. So life is the same thing. What is a wave? Literally, but energy moving. Right? That water doesn't just rise up of its own accord. It's energy moving from elsewhere. The wind is blowing over. Right. So it's energy. Life is the same thing. We just don't see it as easily as we do see in waves. But there are energy forces moving constantly around us. And we don't see it. Sometimes, like in surfing, you're not paying attention to the waves. What happens? It's going to bowl you over and dump you and take you for an unpleasant ride that you don't want to do. Right? Be tumbling along in the wave. And this is what happens in life. But we can learn to surf the energy waves of life. Yeah. But it still requires our effort. I still got to learn how to surf to maximize that wave. So when we combine these two, I'm now responding. Yes, and how the surfer surfs the wave, if you're really paying attention to surfing, you'll see it's not all the same. Some waves are a bit more hollow, some are a bit more flat, some steep, some are breaking fast, and some go left, some go right. Every wave is different and unique, and you'll see what the surfer does is very much influenced by the wave. Now, of course, when it comes down to that level, there's a lot of personal expression involved also. But nonetheless, the range of what you can do is determined by the wave. Yeah? So this is where it's responding. And when you are responding to a wave from the universe and you're riding that wave, when you are on a wave that you know is from the universe and you know is for you, specifically for you, you know it's right to ride that wave. How you ride it doesn't matter. That's your personal choice. But when you know it is right, right in the capital R, right, to ride this wave, how is that not a joy? How is it not a joy to know what you're doing is right? Not I believe it's right, not I think it's right, not I want to have it right, not I hope it's right, not maybe it's right, but it is. See? This is the great joy that I remove all doubt about rightness. It comes from the universe, it's right. End of story. And I can have full confidence in its rightness. And this is a deep joy to know what I am doing is right. To know what I am doing is right. How I implement this, of course, that's my impeccability. That's a different issue. But the major course of action, the wave itself and getting onto that wave, this is right, right? This is no doubt about it. And this changes one's life. It absolutely changes one's life because I am ridiculously earnest and honest when it comes to making such decisions. And that's how I got to this. I could not make an honest decision that I could write off and say, this is right. I tried all the best I could. Self-wisdom is flawed. I could never get to that point of absoluteness. There was always, yeah, well, it's right as far as you know. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'm happy with that. And my impeccability says, sure. But I wanted that full rightness of living in response, in harmony, in attunement with the universe. It's a profound thing. I cannot emphasize enough how profound it is. And this is the entire way of impeccability applied in the new nobility. It's core to their way of living, right? That's why she says, yeah, they are always responding. Yes, that responding, that being attuned, says Biella, that's where the joy, capital J, joy, you see so evident in the new nobility arises from. It arises from the connection to the universe. They are paying attention. Is this a simple matter? Absolutely not. Is it complicated? Yes. Is it worthwhile? Yes. Yeah? It makes sure that you have to have every ounce of your moreness needs to be applied. Because fine, you're sitting out there surfing and it's just little waves. But on the next day you come and it's these huge, great, big, massive waves. And it's like, you've got to step up. That's it. You don't have a choice. So the universe is always kind of pushing you to be at your moreness, your most. Yeah. To really exercise and put your moreness into action. And it's a deep joy. Once we get used to doing that, we step up and we have that confidence to step up, even if we've never done it before. because we learn to trust ourselves. We learn to trust our competency, learn to trust our strategy, our ability to figure it out, etc., etc. It's not a vain competency. It's a competency that's based on practice, application, realness, right? Humility is at the root of that self-trust. It starts with humility. Very, very, very powerful point. Yes. So I really wanted to emphasize on this. So before we go any further, I am keen to ask Lisa, Cheryl, Norma, and Ramsey, if you're still here, whoever is here, but particularly Lisa and Norma and Cheryl, and well, you also, Bina. I really want to hear from you if what I said about living responsively, living in response, responding to the universe and the flow and the stream of events, as Biella describes it, if this now makes sense, and why it results in joy. Does my explanation answer that question?
Absolutely. For me, this is definitely it
Wow.
resolve the question. This responding is first, it is actually the real application of taking a power pause, which is a very appropriately termed,
Yes.
because power pause is actually when you are taking a pause to take your power back.
Exactly.
In any situation, in any communication, when we react to anyone, of course we are responding to any cueing. In other words, it
Yeah.
is giving away your powers. But when we take a
Yes.
power pause, we take a pause to take our power back, that now I'm going to make my capital C choice, how and what to respond, or even I want to respond or not.
Yes.
This is so empowering.
Mm,
In
mm.
just tiny brief moments, we can take these power pause and take our power back to ourselves. This is the time where we
Yes.
are
Yes.
actually stating our boundaries. That, okay,
Yes.
yes, no matter how profound your thing is, no matter how ridiculous your queuing is, I
Mm.
am going to choose, make my capital C
Exactly.
choices,
Exactly.
how, what,
Yeah.
and to respond or not. So at least
Yes.
these three minimum questions, basic questions.
Yes.
And when we do that, it is when we take this power back, we actually, of course, we save our energy.
Mm.
So it is energy efficient. Sometimes, yes, in the
Exactly.
beginning, it was my idea
Exactly.
that, oh, responding is more energy consuming. Actually, not. In a longer run, it is not. It is more energy efficient, because when
Yes.
I am following someone's queuing or any external stimulation, I'm following it and I just go through that, it is wasting my energy inappropriately. But when I
Exactly.
choose to respond, I actually choose to wait and how I am going to spend my energy. And when I make that
Yes.
decision, I'm not only saving my energy, but also I'm investing my energy appropriately in for the
Exactly.
future.
Exactly. And now, if you add, in addition to this power pause, deliberate choice, if you now say, yes, but it's my choice, how do I know my choice is the sensible choice? I don't. But when I don't know which way to go, I look to the universe. You see?
Yes,
Now I'm saying, well, the universe is really pushing me into this. Okay, I'm not going to doubt the universe. Yeah, so I go with it.
yes,
Now somebody else may come and say, well, you know what? It doesn't really matter which choice you make as long as you make a choice. Yes, I'll say. But
yes,
if I believe and feel and have reason to say it's coming from the universe, whether or not this is actually so and the universe has actually intent or not doesn't matter. It leverages me internally, right? It makes
yes,
me feel better about my choices, right? So
yes,
it doesn't matter whether it's coming from the universe or my subconscious or whatever, but it's making that choice to say my usual self, my little self, my me that I know, it's so limited. How can it possibly choose the greater path that I'm on? Once I'm
yes,
on a path, then my little self can do lots of decisions that it is capable of making, right? Because these are
yes,
our life skills. I can, you know, make the decision to stay on the path, or you stray and then you fall into the ditch. Well, okay, duh, I wasn't paying attention. See? So there are many choices we can make, but in some, we just simply don't have the ability or the information or the awareness or the ability to look into the future or whatever to make such decisions. So to me, those decisions are ones I really struggled with, the decisions that affect my entire life and beyond. And those are the ones which come from the universe. And when I do that, well, whether they're real or not, doesn't matter. I get much value. All right, Cheryl. All right, Cheryl. I love that you came even for a few minutes. I love this. I love this. Oh, I hope you can come back. I absolutely hope so. This is so magical. You just stimulate me, and it's a massive thing that you hear. Yeah. So death is a profound motivator. Oh, you said that already. Yeah, I read that. It is. It is. It's worth repeating. It's a profound motivator on your death, and it's a wonderful advisor. So on that power pause, it's not only to take back your power, but also to connect and activate to your power. Right? You may not have necessarily given it away or lost it, but you may just sort of be unaware of it and not really connected to it. So the power pause gives you space to connect to your power in whichever way is appropriate. If you've given it away, you need to claim it, etc. Right, Bina, just to be a little bit fine tuning there. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Connecting to one's power. Power pause is massive for connecting to our power. Lisa, I'm keen to hear from you about responding, because you did ask about it. Does it make more sense? I think I'm stating the obvious for you, maybe, but nonetheless, I am keen to hear, because it's every time we say things, we hear something different potentially. So, I'm keen to hear if the way I'm explaining it this time is also making sense. Hopefully, the other times did. I don't want to assume they did. Very important stuff. Very important stuff. So keen to hear from you about this responding and living in this way, which is what attunement is. It's paying attention to what's going on to you and responding to that, using it as input, as leverage, as motivation. And it's a profound thing. It's such a joy to know that you can live without doubt. Yeah. That you
Yes.
have a way that you can act that it totally resolves doubt. It's a profound thing. It's a profound thing. All right, while we wait for Lisa's response, Lisa may have to go as well. She may be, walking around doing stuff or the headset on or whatever. So, I won't wait for her response necessarily. I always, there's never an expectation, of course, or an obligation. So, if it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's beautiful either way. All good, all good. All right. Pleasure, Norma. I'll say thank you to the thank you. A pleasure. Please continue, Bina. Please continue.
You are not sharing screen.
That would help. Yes, that would help. That would help.
Comelius spoke. Okay. Spoke. Comelius spoke. This is the way I understand it. So before a situation.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you right there.
Yes.
I just want to emphasize right there, Comelius is doing a repeat back.
Okay.
Not a takeaway. He's doing a repeat back, right? Because he's saying the same thing. In his understanding, this is what Biella just said, which is a repeat back. Completely different words. Yeah?
Yes.
But it's a repeat back. This is the beauty of repeat backs, because the idea of a repeat back is to put it in your own words, in your own understanding, not to just, because otherwise it's not the repeat back, but it's a verbatim, just a echo, which we don't want to echo. That's pointless to echo. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Comelius spoke. This is the way I understand it. So before a situation is manifest, it exists as probability within a cloud of multiple probabilities.
Yes.
Before a situation is manifest, It exists as probability within a cloud of multiple probabilities.
Yes.
But not
Now there where
all.
it says is manifest, we could substitute that with saying, and before a situation comes into reality or even exists, right?
Okay. Okay.
Right,
I
but
understand that people have
right,
different association with manifest,
yeah, yeah,
right? But
yeah,
it is
yeah, yeah.
appropriate here.
Absolutely, because by manifest, the difference is he's saying manifest, you are bringing it in. You are
Into
connected
the
to the
present.
process of
Yes.
bringing it in. Right. So that
Yes.
I just wanted to, it's just nice capital R reading to make that discernment there,
Yes.
that distinction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It is. So it exists as probability within a cloud of multiple probabilities.
Mm,
But not all probabilities are equally probable.
yes.
There is a way things want to go, you could say. Wow.
Mm,
Wow. 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 There
mm,
is a way things want to go, you could
yeah.
say.
Yeah.
There's more probable probabilities are the appropriate.
Or the appropriate, not are appropriate. See, that's a different thing, right?
These okay,
Or
these
the
probable
appropriate.
probabilities
Yes.
are the appropriate.
Right. I mean, it's a distinction there, right? The, yes. It makes all the difference to that sentence. Yeah. Now,
Yes.
those more probable probabilities are also going to be appropriate, but not necessarily the appropriate. Where the joy for the new nobility comes from is from doing the appropriate rather than what's appropriate. It's a difference. Yeah. The appropriate is like a higher, it's coming from a higher place to say, here we go, this is the moreness, this is the appropriate, this is the best you can do in the situation. Whereas what I do is appropriate is according to me, and it's appropriate according to me. Is it the appropriate in the situation? No, not necessarily. I hope so, but no, not necessarily. And I know it's not going to be so in the bigger context of things that happen in the future, because I can't see into the future. So I don't know. I can only guess, right? So at best, I'm looking to extrapolate and hope things work out, but I don't know. So this is a very profound point that Comelius is restating here, right? Exactly what Biella said. Yes, this is about attunement and paying attention. Some things are more probable than others, and this point, the key point here is there is a way things want to go. You could say. You could say. See, it's not very clear. You have to make that effort to discern it. It is not handed to you on a platter. You got to figure it out. And this is attunement. Attunement is saying there's a way things want to go. It's like the river. It has a way it wants to go. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. Now, when a river's already in a river, it goes the same way it's gone before. But what about a river that's starting fresh? Like you've got a dam that's been built, and the dam breaks, not at the dam wall because that's already got the river going, but let's say a part of the mountain that's part of the dam gives way for whatever reason, right? And
Uh-huh.
suddenly you've got water going out the other side of the mountain that never ever went there before, and it's going across the plains and everything. A completely new river. How does that
Mm.
river determine its path?
Mm.
If you busy kayaking on that new river, you're going to say there's a whole host of probabilities as how this river could go. But there's a way things want to go. Well, and the way things want to go in a river is the path of least resistance. Now, it's not necessarily gravity, it's least resistance, where the soil is more issue, there's less stuff in the way, plants, whatever. Right? Many reasons for making a river go the way it goes. Yeah? So the water may be a high water table, and that makes it go elsewhere, or low water table, who knows, right? So there's a way that river wants to go. When you think of that as attunement, because that's usually how it more is that it's not a predefined course that's very easy to spot. It's more like in the moment, things are happening in real time, and the river's going here and then there, and okay, whatever, yeah. It changes, yeah. So the path that it takes initially might not be the path that it ends up on, yeah. If ever you've like done little furrows of irrigation, and you add water and you're guiding it to go, you'll know exactly what I mean. You may guide it somewhere, and does it stay that way over time? No, not necessarily. It might. It depends on a lot of factors, right? So this is a big, really a nice understanding of attunement, that things have a way they want to go, and you need to attune to it then, right? Can't be thinking about the later. It's then. Yes, takes the path of least resistance, precisely. And this is the way of energy. It always wants to take the path of least resistance. However, intense least resistance is calculated over the entirety of the journey, not only from the immediate. So now you've got a very aware river that is looking at between the mountain and the sea. It calculates the entire path, and it says, this is my best route. This is intent. This is intent.
Yes.
This is intense job. It calculates the entirety across time and space and everything. This we cannot do. So now that river, you say, but river, why are you kind of going uphill over here? Why are you doing this? Because in the longer term, this is the better way. Yeah. It might do things in the short term that don't make sense, but in the long term it does. So it's very important to understand that that path of least resistance, Lisa, has to be calculated over the entirety of not only the time, but also the journey, the distance, right? So you have to take the entire path, not just the immediate, and also over the lifetime of it, right? So when we look at this in our lives, where is our lifetime path of least resistance? It's a very different calculation, right? It's a very, very different calculation, because how often are we not asked to invest a little bit of energy now, which is extra energy expenditure, but it makes things easier later? Yeah. If we only live in the moment and we don't think of those future consequences of our energy investments, we end up basically being broke all the time.
Yes.
Think of people with money, right? They never invest it, and an investment is to say, I'm losing access to the money now. I don't get to spend it now, but I'm going to get a greater benefit later. So I'm reducing my spending now, but I'm going to be able to spend more later. Whereas if I constantly spend in the now, that's all I ever have. I don't ever get to grow my money. I don't ever get a moreness out of it. Yeah. Profound change seems it must always go against the flow of inertia. Absolutely, Lisa. Will you elaborate and expound on that, please? What you just said is a huge layered comment that requires much capital R reading to it. Very deep comment from Lisa. Profound change seems it must always go against the flow of inertia. Now, technically, inertia doesn't flow. Inertia is that force which resists change to flow. But I get your point. Yes. So yes, exactly. A profound change has to overcome inertia, because inertia is the force that resists change to whatever's going on, whether it's stationary or moving, doesn't matter. Inertia is what resists change to the way it's going. Yeah, that's literally the definition of what inertia is. It is a force that resists change. So if we are looking for like a profound change, as Lisa calls it, which is the absolute appropriate term, we have to be able to overcome inertia. If not, things are just going to continue the way they are, whether it's being stationary or going in a particular path. They're just going to continue going the way they're going. Big deal.
She says the status quo, if one is strict effort force, is required to change the path. Yes.
Exactly. And stuck. Yeah. What keeps us stuck is the force of inertia.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
That
exactly.
Analogy of a shrimp. That always they have to feel uncomfortable and have to be uncomfortable actually in that shell. So this is the
All
right
right.
direct consequence as its growth, because yes, and that was really profound
Oh,
for me when the first time I heard that analogy, and I was like, wow. So that small shell, that their skin or shell, I don't know how to say it,
yeah,
but
shell. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes,
Because it's hard,
that
so it's a
becomes
shell.
smaller for them, and they grow inside, and
Mm,
then they feel really suffocated in that, and that
mm.
actually forced them to grow out of it, to get out of that shell. This is how
Exactly,
the process of
exactly,
growth for them. So
exactly. And
I
and
get
and
your point.
how many of us recognize our uncomfortableness as a consequence of our inner growth? And now we are pushing against the shell of habits and of momentum and inertia. Yes, I know some people right now that are feeling that discomfort of their growth pushing against the shell of their old selfness.
Yes,
It's a
yes,
profound point. Profound
it is
point.
part of the process.
Bottom line is you've got to do. You avoiding doing, and I
There
don't want to
is
do, I don't want to do, I don't want to make the effort to break the cell. Is that gonna
there
help?
is no other
No,
way,
because
sir.
can you take back the growth? No,
No,
you can't.
no.
That shrimp
Once you
can't
are
say, well,
willing
I'm
to
gonna shrink now. I'm gonna take back my growth. Nope, sorry, not gonna happen.
I
Momentum.
tried that. I
Yes,
tried that.
momentum.
I was really keen to go back to that state where I could enjoy my friends' company, and then
Yeah,
okay, just chill
yeah,
around and fool around actually. Like okay, oh,
yes,
just do the norm, not normal, like gossips and some petty stuff. Just discuss and
yeah,
enjoy
yeah,
them. I can
yeah,
do if I really want to, but
yeah,
this is going to be an effort from my side, like to be involved,
yeah,
and this is what I
yeah,
was trying to do. And
yeah,
of course, the realization kicks in that okay, it is not going to happen. Once you are aware,
yeah,
then that is the transformation right now happen. You have to accept that you are no more your older self.
yeah,
No way
yeah,
back.
yeah,
That's why
yeah.
I always feel a bit reluctant to quote these words. And whenever someone says that okay, oh, we have to unlearn. You cannot unlearn anything. It's always relearning. Go back
Exactly,
again to the same thing and read
exactly.
that with the more clarity, with new awareness. That's it. It is
Yes,
not going to be unlearning. It's not a process, at least in our human life. It is going to exist. All we can do is to do the perspective shifting on the same thing, and that is relearning, not unlearning. You cannot undo this. It's there. We can get more clarity. We can acquire a new perspective, but it is going to exist in our awareness. So same with
exactly.
this. Become when we become aware, you cannot go back to your childlike state. Yes, you can try, but you cannot be a
No,
child again. This
right,
is like
right,
okay,
right.
unaware. No,
But we
no, it
can we
is
can learn to be sophisticated children and go
yes,
beyond
of
that
course.
state and
Again,
get the
relearning.
moreness out of it and touch on
Yes,
it. Yeah, exactly. There
yes,
are many
again,
things we can
relearning.
do. All right. So I
Yes,
actually have a
and
I
sooner
actually
or
oh
later
good.
it is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sooner or later we have to prompt.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is better to do it as soon as possible. That's it.
Exactly. Do it now. Later never comes by definition. Because when later comes, it's not later anymore. It's now. So if I'm going to say I'm going to do it later, it's impossible to do it later. I can only do it now.
Yes.
Mm, yeah. All right. But I want to make a really, really good little side point here that is associated. And my digression is courtesy of Lisa. Yes. Lisa said inertia and then said that's the word momentum. So when we think in general, we think spirituality and then we think science, and they're two completely separate things. Yes. But the new nobility are spiritual scientists and also scientific spiritual, I don't want to say spiritualists, but spiritual seekers, spiritual pursuers. All right. So they combine the two, and it's absolutely essential. Okay, just look in our little short time that we've been talking here. We brought up a few major concepts that are scientific. Yes. inertia and momentum, and then also a probability. Yes, there was one other term, I forget now what it was. But probability is a scientific term, right? You need to understand this. In other words, the statistical value of something, more probable, less probable, right? So that's also relativity. So all scientific terms, scientific thinking. Now, when I say we need to be somewhat scientific, you don't have to be a complete, fully card-carrying member of the nerd fraternity, full-on scientist. No, just know the basics. Understand a few things like probability, what statistics are, how probability works, what exactly is probability. It's just more likely. It's just expressed as a percentage of what is determined and regularly likely, and understand these sort of things. And understand a few terms like momentum and inertia, and there's a couple others, but they greatly enhance our spirituality massively, massively. Right? Look at this understanding of inertia and momentum, resistance. Yes? Spirit equals
Yes.
science. Exactly. There is no difference. Resistance was the term. Exactly. The term for resistance in electricity is ohm. Yes. That is the unit of resistance rather than the term for resistance, right? So it's the unit to be precise, right? Ohm, exactly. It's the same thing. Yeah. And I think whoever called it the ohms was being a bit funny, but actually it comes from somebody called Ohm, I believe. That was his name. So it's the unit. The more ohms, more resistance. Yeah. It's a very profound thing. And yesterday, or earlier in this topic, I said to induce, like current is induced in a coil by moving an electric magnet inside it, right? So induction, this concept of induction, it's a magical thing. Literally, you take something that can carry electricity, like copper wire, right? And you run it in around a magnet in a coil. That's it, right? And then you take that magnet, and here's the coil, right, running around like my fingers or this coil now. The wires running around like this. And you take the magnet and you do this. You move it in and out of the inside of that coil. That movement of moving the magnet inside the coil, it causes electricity to happen magically, to appear. It induces electricity into the wire. Now, tell me this is not magical. Please explain to me how this is not magical. I want to hear from somebody if you possibly can. I don't care how scientific you are. End of the day, you are doing something that sort of makes no sense whatsoever, that somebody just found out by accident. Oh, if you do this, oh, wow. Okay, you can hold the magnet still and move the coil around it, and the same thing results. Go to your car, open your hood, take out your generator or your alternator, take it apart, and look at what you have. You got a coil that moves around a magnet. I'm simply saying, my point is, this is magical stuff, right? So, but it's the doing that made that energy get induced there. So we mustn't think that energy expenditure necessarily results in a loss of energy. Sometimes we get more energy, which is the concept of investment. It's also the concept of induction. Yes, we're making one kind of a movement and we get an entirely different energy out of it. A really magical, awesome energy. So, yes. So when we understand terminology and we take terminology to its end, we get conceptuality. It's a whole different thing. See, I'm understanding the concept of induction. I can apply it not only to an electrical coil and a magnet, but I can apply it to me. Yes, to moving my understanding inside the field of other concepts. Yeah. And the one induces something into the other, etc. There's many ways to use conceptuality. Same thing as we used momentum and inertia in our personal lives, right? So this is why Way of Impeccability is also called the language of conceptuality. It's not just the terms, but the language of it, which is to understand how that works as a language. Because a language is not just understanding the terms, it's also understanding how they connect, relate, the grammar, the tenses, all that stuff, right? So there's more to language than just knowing what the words mean. If you just go and learn what words mean, doesn't mean you can speak the language. You kind of get by, but you won't speak the language. Same thing with the language of conceptuality. There's a relationship between things. There's a way in which they interact and work. We want to understand that. Very, very, very profound. So yes, terminology is not something to say, it's boring, it's a nerdy thing. No. When we understand terminology to be conceptuality, we can now have the abstract thinking that allows us to apply terms like concepts like inertia and momentum and probability and resistance to our personal lives, right? And to understand things like resistance, yes, like heat and cold can for instance increase or decrease resistance depending on the material, depending on what's going on, right? So in other words, how motivated you are, you could say. See, what's the equivalent of literally a wire being hot or cold, and then for being more conductive, conducive? Yeah, there's a difference between conductive and conducive, by the way. Slightly different. But anyway, so to understand conceptuality is a profound thing. It's an absolute profound thing. And we mustn't get stuck on terminology. We've got to take terminology further to conceptuality. That's what the dictionary of power is. Why? It is not just a dictionary of terminology. That's a dictionary. But when it becomes a dictionary of power is because it's a dictionary of conceptions, not a dictionary of terms. Yeah, the resistance is futile. Precisely. Precisely. And this is the awful truth, that most people get stuck in their lives. They're looking to resist and they complain and say, it's too much effort, it's too much energy, I'm too stupid, I'm too old, I'm too ugly, I'm too nonsensical, I'm too immature, I'm too this, God knows what all they come up with, right? And it's like, seriously, dude, listen to yourself. Resistance is futile. You're wasting your time. Just get over it already and just do what you know you're supposed to do. You're wasting so much energy in complaining and looking for excuses, and it's all futile. You're gonna be assimilated anyway. So just give over already, right? So we're going to be assimilated into the universe. Resistance is futile. It's all a matter of doing so in the most easiest and efficient and pleasant and joyful way possible, right? If you can't beat them, join them. Yeah. All right. So cool, so cool, so wonderful. It's a big point, this conceptuality. When we learn to think in the abstract, changes our lives, right? All right. Let's continue a bit here. I love it. Where is Brenda when I need her? Yes, I don't know. Tag Brenda there, please. I'm assuming you're friends of Brenda. Brenda Johnson. Tag her. Say, come join us, Brenda. Yeah, we're missing you. You started
Yeah.
and you were all enthusiastic, and then we just like, what happened, Brenda? Yeah, come back, come back, come back. I agree. I agree. Brenda Johnson. I
No,
think you're a friend of hers, right, Lisa?
yes, I am, but I cannot do this right now.
Okay. Can you tag her, Brenda? I mean, Lisa, can you tag Brenda, please?
At, at. Okay, yeah, you can do this, right.
Brenda Johnson. Yeah, she doesn't come up for me in the tag, yeah. So maybe she's not a member of the group, maybe, I don't know. But the tagging is all let's try Brenda Johnson. Yeah, I'm not getting her coming up. I hope Lisa does. All right. Oh, you don't know her. Okay. Yeah, well, she was in the group and joining, when we started the reading, she would come to the lives and then she stopped coming. So you know what, you can maybe go to the CCC group which she started, Bina, and you can tell her, hey, somebody's asking for you in the live right now. Bina, can you do that?
Okay. Okay, I will open a new window because I was doing
Okay.
some of this
Okay.
stuff.
And
So
I'll read then. I'll read. So Comelius has said there is a way things want to go. And it's not necessarily a fact that's a fact like the sky is blue, but it's a fact that if you pay attention, you say, oh, yes, I see what you mean. And you prove it to yourself. And those are the best facts. Yes. There's a way things want to go. And because the energy of the universe has its own intent. And once we click this logic, oh, Well, what do you mean it has its own intent? Yeah, what is that intent? Ah, the intent to awareness. Oh, and it becomes self-proving. It becomes a duh, right? So the way things want to go is toward awareness. That's it. It's very simple, right? There are more probable probabilities, or these more probable probabilities are the appropriate. Strategic awareness, Comelius goes on to say, is the sensitivity to the probability that could make the appropriate more evident. Precisely. Strategic awareness says, I'm looking at all of these probabilities, and my strategic awareness says, if I think strategically, what makes the one probability more appropriate than the other? And I see, okay, right. Because I'm giving a focus to my awareness. I can leverage it. I can leverage it through that focus. Yeah. Of all the perceived probabilities, the appropriate stands out. Exactly. Like a brighter star in a sky full of stars, when strategic awareness is applied. It is the most profound thing and very poetic that Comelius says here. Of all the perceived probabilities, the appropriate stands out, like a brighter star in the sky full of stars, when strategic awareness is applied. You've got to ask that question. Yeah?
Yes.
You've got to ask that question. You've got to have that focus, that intent to say, let me apply my awareness strategically. This is what strategic awareness is, right? The application of my awareness strategically. What is strategy? Strategy is the way of taking a little energy to give you the most reward. Yeah? To utilize your energy in a way that leverages it, that makes it more. To get to do a lot with a little. Isn't this strategy? Yeah. It's a profound thing. It's a profound thing. Sorry. It's a profound thing. It's a really, really, really big deal. Very big deal. So yeah, strategic awareness. Make sure your awareness is being strategically applied. In other words, if I'm just being aware of my physical, comfort, how far does that take me? It's not a very strategic use of my awareness, right? Oh, I'm hot, I'm cool, whatever, Yeah, not very helpful. Go further, go bigger, look at the bigger picture. Strategy always takes the full context into account. If you don't, then, well, if we think of it in military terms, if I'm fighting my battle with a warrior in front of me and I'm looking at strategy relative to whoever I'm fighting, I'm not necessarily going to win the battle, because I need to take the whole battle into account in order to have strategy that affects the battle. So this is the same thing in life, yeah? You got to look at the bigger picture. You got to look at the bigger picture. Very important. To ignore the universe's cue, Comelius goes on, and to choose instead the probability which is simply self-serving, is to actually act against the universe. Now, boy, does Comelius really, really bring it here. Yeah. Brilliant, Bina, brilliant. I see you come up in the chat there. All right. This is too wonderful. This is too wonderful. All right. So again, to go further here, Comelius is making a very profound point, and he's saying, hey, listen up, narcissists, and, complainers, self-pitiers, blah, blah, right? Indulgers, listen up. This is for you. To ignore the universe's cue. In other words, that pressure from the universe to say, hey, this is more probable, the thing that wants to be. It's a cue. It's a prompt. It's a suggestion. It's like, hello, wake up. I mean, hey, I'm pressing against you. It's like, how do you ignore me? To ignore the universe's cue and to choose instead the probability, because there's a lot of probability. You can choose anyone. But the probability which is simply self-serving is to actually go against the universe. And there's no greater crime. to go against the universe. It is the most it's not really a crime, but it's the most foolish thing we can do. Of course, you're free to go against the universe, but it's foolishness. This is the very definition of foolishness, right? Which, of course, is not likely to end well, since in doing so, you have betrayed your own intention. What a sophisticated statement, right? I mean, he could have just left it there and said, which, of course, is not going to go well. But listen to what he adds to that. Since in doing so, you have betrayed your own intention. What is your intention or intent really? Your intent to goodness, your intent to moreness. If my intent to moreness, if I'm saying, well, I just want to go with what serves me right now. Okay, it makes me look pretty, it makes me look clever. Okay, it makes me look comfortable in the short term, but to hell with everybody else. If they're uncomfortable, I want that air conditioner set to exactly the degree that I want it. Never mind. Anyway. You're betraying your overall intention. You're sacrificing the longer, the bigger, the more for the less. It's foolishness to the extreme degree, right? Very, very potent point. Very, very potent point. So what can Biella say except yes, exactly? She was content to let him spell it out. Yeah, because she doesn't have to spell it out. He's doing so already. It's redundant for her to do it. But also, she's being called upon and she knows that she's going to be doing a lot of spelling out. When he spells it out, it provides an extra perspective, which is always valuable, right? And of course, it's the flow of things too. She is applying the very thing that they are talking about, responding, the flows, the cues. Yeah. So she's actually being in attunement here. Yes, exactly. Biella said evenly. She was content to let him spell it out. An integral part of the new nobility process. That really should be a capital P there. Right? Well, let's do that. No reason I can't. The capital P process was to have members of a discussion explain back what they had come to understand, to give their takeaways, in addition to the explaining back, right, as a repeat back. Yeah, it's sort of put together a little bit. The only way to be sure understanding had been reached. Yeah, because we can say we understand, but how do you know? How do you know if you don't share what your understanding is? How do you know you actually understand? This always bothered me when I was a kid. Said, I think I understand, but how can I check my understanding? I never had access to those who shared things that I was taking apart and thinking it through to the end and multiple perspectives and doing and applying. I never had access to them, but had I had, I would have said, this is the way I understand it. Did I get it right? According to how you mean it, not necessarily. Did I understand what you were trying to say? Then they would say, yeah, okay, you got what I was trying to say. And then I'll say, all right, but for me, it's a little differently. I'm going to apply it this way because I think maybe you missed this or whatever. Maybe not. Sometimes it was just exactly that. But there were two different things, right? Me understanding what they were trying to say doesn't necessarily mean that's how I'm going to use it. It might or it might not. But I still wanted to know I understood them correctly, because I might think I understood them correctly. And then they say, oh, no, actually what I meant was this and that, and you got it all wrong. And I'm like, ah. So, and that what I didn't understand is actually maybe the thing that I did want to understand and the thing that is useful, right? So it's very important to check. These repeatbacks are absolutely critical. And this is part of what we're doing in these lives. You have the opportunity to share your repeatbacks on how you understand this to mean and check them. And then you can say, okay, I understood what you were trying to say, but now I'm going to take this further and apply it to me in my particular situation. You customize it. And there you go, right? But at least you know that you understood correctly in the first place. You didn't miss something. Very important.
Yes,
Very important.
also in personal relationships, sir. This is
Oh,
something that
it is beyond critical. In your relationship with your other, start practicing repeatbacks. And next time you speak to a hubby or wifey or boyfriend or girlfriend or bae or whoever, right? and you say something to them and they say, yeah, yeah, whatever. And especially if they're watching the game or whatever they're doing, listening to the soap or something, you say, oh, what did I say? And then they start saying it, but they start saying it verbatim. Say, no, 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 not verbatim, in your own words. Oh, and then they can't say anything, right? So when you ask for repeatbacks, true repeatbacks, which is always in your own words, never just verbatim. Verbatim is a memory trick. A repeatback is an understanding issue, not a memory trick. Then you are going to really get, and you are going to be astonished, right? And this is an exercise in way of impeccability when we deal with this. The exercise is to take something, a simple, basic thing that somebody said, right? Okay, yeah, take this sentence, right? To ignore the universe's cue and choose instead the probability, which is simply self-serving, is to actually act against the universe. Take that sentence right now, right? And read it to your other who's around there, right? Anybody you can find, right? And then you ask them, could you repeat that back to me, please? Not verbatim, but say it back in your own words and see what happens. And the exercise in way of impeccability is to try this on a variety of people. Your mind is going to be blown by not only the variety of the repeatbacks, but how seldom anybody's even close to understanding what you said. Kind of scary. It's kind of scary. So very important point, repeatbacks. Huge. In relationships, essential, 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 essential. Did we read this whole slide, Bina? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, we did. We did. All right. So will you continue on the next one, please?
Yes, we are going to read this, the slide, and then we will continue it tomorrow because I do have few things to take care of.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you can do that, we are almost on time.
Oh, no, it's a
But
perfect point. It's a perfect point to end on. Exactly.
okay, okay. So Comelius continued. He resumed his pacing and okay, like this.
And his beard
Because
stroking
I was
now.
busy with something. So anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, he'd resumed his pacing and beard stroking, and in
Like
this
this.
way, it can be seen the new nobility were not manipulating the situation; they were manifesting the appropriate.
What a
Arshna joined in.
sentence.
Yes,
What a sentence. What an insightful thing to
yes,
say that it's one thing to see manipulation. It's another thing to understand that they could see where it was going and then they manifested the appropriate, which is exactly what happened. That name, agglomeration, wasn't a name that they'd pre-thought up. It came about in the moment because it was needed to. Yeah. So
yes,
how can they be manipulating if they didn't have that? And also
yes,
all of the way it went and the way the people responded, the delegates responded with a sarcasm and all that. It all happened quite magically, right? It was just like, it couldn't be scripted better. Why? It was because they were intending and making that point to materialize or manifest the appropriate. Yeah. So through their intent, the things happened. Yeah. Which is a different thing to manipulation, where manipulation is your agenda, your personal little I intent. Well, it's not even intent, your wants, your desires. You're trying to make those happen. But when you are looking to implement capital I intent and you're looking to have things be appropriate, your intent is appropriateness. When the things come about, are you really manipulating, or are you just leveraging the greater appropriateness and you're just bringing that into the fore, right? You're just adding a bit of extra energy to make that greater, the appropriate, become evident, yeah, and obvious. And that's what they were doing. Exactly. They were really acting in attunement rather than manipulating. Yeah.
oh yeah,
In
absolutely.
attunement to the bigger picture. Yeah. Very big deal. Very big deal. Okay.
Arshna joined in. What choices did they have?
What
Allowing the
choice?
situation. Yes, what choice did they have? Allowing the situation to collapse when a solution was at hand would have been ethically intolerable. Once we are aware, whatever we do is a deliberate choice.
Yes.
Wow, yes. Well said,
Yes.
Ursula. Exactly the crux of the issue. Yes,
Once
it is
we're
so,
aware,
yes,
whatever we do is a deliberate choice. Again, if
yes,
they did nothing, and then somebody could say, well, let's assume they had wanted the that their agenda had been to sabotage and make the whole conference collapse. Then by not doing and seeing it's going to go this way, by them not stepping in and changing it, they would be manipulating it to collapse, correct?
yes,
So either way, you can be accused of manipulation. Manipulation is not on your actions. It's determined by your intent, not your
exactly,
actions, but
exactly.
your intent.
And when we have this understanding and of course awareness,
Yeah,
then our intents become clear and our conscience
yeah,
become
yeah,
clear
yeah,
that what
yeah,
what we are doing according to the situation, it is
yeah,
appropriate and it is. I'm trying to be, of course, I'm not talking about new nobles, but I'm talking about myself. That I
yeah,
try to be impeccable, and then of course, as per my awareness, understanding, and experience, I will choose the any option which is collectively going to improve the situation, not just only
yeah,
mine. And this is the whole thing about manipulation. So
yeah,
yes, the manipulation or positive re-engineering of the situation is something we all have to sometimes choose in
yeah,
our life.
yeah.
Yes.
I got a question for Norma, and I have a
Hmm.
question for Lisa.
Okay.
And well, just for the two of them for right now.
Okay.
So Norma and Lisa, pick a god, any god from the pantheon of gods all around the world, right? I'm talking about like old gods, right? Mythology gods. Yeah. Well, okay, I guess some of them might still be like, Hindu gods. They're very active still, but they fall into that same category, right? So pick one, please, and mention it because I have not yet made the commentary of the gods on this chapter, and I feel this is a very, very appropriate point for them to make some kind of a comment there. They're looking down from where they are, and they're observing this whole interaction. Jupiter. Ooh, Jupiter. Now, is Jupiter the same as Zeus? We've had Zeus before, but is
I
Jupiter
think
and Zeus?
Jupiter, the Jupiter is a son of Zeus. Yes.
No, I think Jupiter is the Roman version of Zeus.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Romans just took the whole Greek thing and they just changed the names. So I'm pretty sure Jupiter is the Roman name for thing. But that's great. No, that's great, Norma. Jupiter. That's wonderful because Zeus has already commented. So we'll have him comment as Jupiter here, or he'll comment and somebody will say, "Oh, that's a very Roman comment there, Jupiter," or something like that, right? So we'll bring Jupiter into it. Lisa, pick a god all around the world, any culture, right? Or even maybe outside the culture. I don't know. Maybe something from like I don't know some. We don't know, but if they have some historical mythological reference, that would be fun. So Jupiter's great. So now, what would Zeus say about what we've been talking about?
Mm.
I think Zeus has to comment on the point uh, of of Comelius's, where Comelius is saying that there is a way things want to go. You could say. I think this is a point that would touch Zeus, yeah, or Jupiter. Yeah, yeah. So now I can bring the Romans into this a little bit, yeah, and to make it a comment from Jupiter, yeah, because the Romans were around for a long, long time. Most people don't realize this, but the Romans were around for almost 2 centuries. Yeah, they were at least 2 millennia. I mean, not 2 centuries, 2 millennia, right? They were around for like 1600, 1700, 1800 years. Sometimes depends on how far BC you said. They went up until the fall of Constantinople in 1488. Yeah. So this is just before Columbus, which is where the Council of the God story starts. There's a massive change in the world, massive change. But we don't know this. People think Rome fell to the barbarians in like AD 600 or 800 or something. No, Rome just moved a little bit more east. Yeah, and they were around. Oh, they were around like in the Byzantine Empire with Constantinople, Turkey, Syria, Greece, that area, and some of, Asia Minor. They were all in that area, the Romans, right? And then, of course, the Roman Catholic Church was the continuation of the Roman Empire in the West. Yeah. And that's what it was called, the Holy Roman Empire, but by Constantinople himself. This was the actual name for it, right? So they didn't go anywhere. They didn't go away. So, Lisa, can you, I'm still keen for a name from you on any god, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, so I
Right.
have to leave now, and I
Okay. Okay.
will come back and we'll
Okay.
join you on Zoom soon. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Bina. Thank you. All right. I'll
Okay.
see you
Bye,
soon.
Norma. Bye,
All
Lisa.
right.
Oh, yes.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, I like the way you said goodbye, Norma. It's like she was right here, like right there by you, like next to you. And you're going to leave the
Yes.
room and you're saying goodbye. That was very cool. That was very cool.
Okay. Bye for now.
All right. Oh, bye, Bina, says Norma. Where you, Lisa, did you go? I want to hear your god that you're naming. Or goddess. Doesn't have to be a god. Either way. I prefer a goddess, actually, because we already have a god now. I All right. There we go. We got Jupiter into it. Where you, Lisa? Where you, Lisa? I'm here. I'm here. I'm just silent, Vina. Sorry, Norma. I was just typing, so you didn't lose me. I was just concentrating on my typing. I am keen. I am keen to hear from Lisa. Okay, maybe tomorrow. Ah, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. All right. Come on, Lisa. Where you? I'm pressing. Lisa may have left already, Norma. It's just you and me, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm here. Norma had to go. See, I'm getting all my names muddled. Sorry, Norma. Norma, Bina had to leave, so it's just me on Zoom right now. But she's gonna come back. But I'm gonna end the live soon because it's time. Not that we have to stick to time, but I do want to write the commentary from the gods. Well, I like their commentary, looking at it from that overall bigger picture perspective, right? So I wrote here, right? Jupiter says, this grabs me as a something. I saw it so profoundly with the Romans. There is a way things want to go, you could say, said Jupiter, who now morphed into that form with the association and immersion into the implication chain. Right? So because Zeus and Jupiter is the same thing, right? And Zeus has commented before, so we already know that, right? So, okay. Yes. Well, I was hoping Lisa would come up with that. So with the female goddess. So yeah, hopefully. But if not, so yes, it is 12 o'clock. Not that I have to stick to it as something really hard and fast, but I am going to end the live now because I think Lisa's already left. So it's no point here. To ask for her, I mean, but I mean, and also I don't want to just drag it on unnecessarily. So I want to write this, and I like that there's an involvement with all of us. I love collaboration, so that's why I was asking you, and I'll run with it a little bit and do more. But I am keen to sort of share these comments from the gods, or their insights, their perspectives, their understandings, their reflections, and sometimes their regrets too. Yeah. And the observations. It just changes things. Yeah.